I'm sure this conversation you've had over and over again. Are we once again at a point where we perhaps the consideration of transport fares going up is justifiable?
It is over justifiable, or it's over justified for the transport operators to call for upward adjustment of fares. Because if you look at the indicators or the benchmarks using in adjusting fares, whether downwards or upwards, all indicators are indicating an upward surge. So reflectively, it is very critical for them also to adjust so that they can make some return on their investment. They can improve the welfare of their families and also get us good vehicles on the road.
But if I look back at the last time transport fares was increased, that was around early May. And at the time, we're looking at a 20% increase. But frankly, man, at that time, the increase between then and now is not 10%, is it?
It will be 10% when the new window sets in. That begins from 16th June. Because if you look at the last time they increased prices of petroleum, increased fares, the price of diesel was around 11 Ghana cedis, 35 pesos per liter. As we're speaking, diesel is now around 12 Ghana cedis, average around 12 Ghana cedis, 10 pesos per liter. So that is more than 10% if you look at the computation well. If you also take petrol, the last time they increased, petrol was also around 9 Ghana cedis, 24 pesos per liter. As we're speaking, petrol is around 10 Ghana cedis, 10 pesos per liter, even though others are selling it below the 10 Ghana cedi mark. So percentage-wise, I think we are above the 10% threshold they agreed with the Ministry of Transport. Aside that, too, if you don't even take that threshold and even consider inflation, I think the last time inflation was around somewhere 23 or so percent. As we're speaking, inflation is around 27%. It also means that generally all the components or the equipment used in their operation, the price have surged, whether month on month or year on year. And for that matter, it is good for us to also call for an upward adjustment for them so that they can also operate well and give us the efficiency and the effectiveness we want in terms of commuting passengers to their workplaces.
First, let me come back to something you said. You said by the time we get to the next pricing window, today is 13th, so you're saying by Thursday, we'll be seeing a further increase in the prices of fuel?
Yes.
What percentage are we looking at?
We are looking at about 7% on diesel and maybe 9% on petrol. However, today indicators on the MPA website could change, but as I said, 7 and then 9 are based on the indicators published by the MPA last week. If indicators go surge further today, it means that the 7 and 9% could go higher than that. If indicators published by MPA today decline, they also mean that prices could increase, but not as much as 7 and then 9% respectively on diesel and petrol. But there is a certainty that prices on Thursday will surge upward.
Even if you reduce it to 4%, 3%, for a 2-week window, for price to be going up by that percentage alone, I think the word that comes to mind is crazy. What is contributing? Because you're saying indicators. Which indicators are contributing to this?
So basically, if you look at our pricing system or the window system, as you said, it's a bi-weekly window in a month. And the indicators we are looking at are basically 3. One is international market prices of products in metric tons. 2 is the currency fluctuation, whether appreciating against the major trading currency like the dollar or depreciating against the major trading currency like the dollar. And also the third part is the taxes and levies and margins on the build-up. For the third part, it has been constant, I think, beginning 1st April, and that is about 2 Ghana cedis, 26 pesos on diesel, and then 2 Ghana cedis, 28 pesos on petrol. But the other component, the two international market prices, they are variable, and I think we've seen in the last 3 months surges of products, surges in the price of products on the international scene. And also, we've also seen our cedi depreciating and continuously depreciating against the dollar. I've also maintained that even if our cedi was performing quite well against the dollar, regardless of the increments on the national scene, price of petroleum products locally won't stay that much. And that is why if you take our neighbors, Ivory Coast, if you take Togo, if you take Burkina Faso, if you take Benin, if you take Nigeria, for example, because they have a stable currency, regardless of the increment on the international scene or increments of prices of petroleum products on the international market, they don't actually see those increments at the local front. Unlike us, we are seeing a much worsening situation because of the depreciation, continuous depreciation of our currency against the dollar. And so we do something about it, prices will continue increasing in Ghana.
So the big issue is the management of our currency.
Yes.
And that is essentially a monetary policy matter. Goes back to the between the Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance. So we are being failed by those who are supposed to be doing that work.
Yes, but not only on the Bank of Ghana. I think we are failing at both sides because of the fiscal policies the Ministry of Finance and government has also put in place. Because sometimes certain fiscal policies also dissuade, or I don't know whether that's the right word, investment into your country. So, for example, if you get many of your foreign investors taking their currencies, or maybe flying over, repatriating their currencies out of your system, it means that there will be a worsening situation on your currency, and that is what we've observed in the last, or in the first quarter and then the second quarter of this year. We've realized that most of our foreign investors do not want to invest in our bonds. We've also realized that most of our foreign investors do not even want to invest in the economy, and that is foreign direct investment. And for that matter, we are not getting the dollar we need to balance our books. Aside that, too, most of our commodities are not doing well. Ghana used to be the largest producer of gold. Now we've been taken over by South Africa, so we are not doing. The only product that is quite doing well currently on the international scene is the oil. And as to whether we are producing those large quantities to get that windfall in terms of foreign revenue, dollar revenue into our kitties is another thing. So if you take cocoa this season, cocoa is not doing well. If you look at the 2021 and the 2022 season, cocoa is not doing well. It also means that the necessary revenue we need from cocoa from the international market, we are not going to get it. So it is about physical more than the monetary. Monetary, they've tried their best by putting certain monetary threshold, increasing policy rates. But policy rates, whilst we even increase it to the highest point, inflation is still increasing. It means that the policy rate is not actually the problem, but rather the fiscal side, which is by the Ministry of Finance and then also by government. Government policy is also one causing us. We at COPEC have also maintained that I think it is about time that we looked at where we import, as a national policy and foreign policy, look at where we import products from. In a sense that today, if historically we were importing products from the European Union, or maybe the ARA area, which we call the Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and Antwerp area in Netherlands, which is a trading platform in Netherlands, I think that it is good we now direct where we import products from than getting it from the sources or the cheaper places. For example, Ghana, as a national policy, can decide to import products from Kuwait. We can decide to import products from Bahrain. We can decide to import products from Iran. We can decide to import products from Saudi Arabia. Even China, we can decide to import product from China. Today, as we speak, America is importing finished product from India. Ghana has a national policy. If we have thinkers in this country, we need to think and look at where exactly at this current time in history we can import products from that will give us competitive advantage and also give us cheaper products for our local economic power. Because if America itself is even importing product from India, refined product from, why can't we also go same? But our foreign policy is still colonial in nature, thinking that since Europe has been the place we import product from, that is the place we are going to import from. But other countries are going other ways, and I think they are getting benefit out of it. Today, as we speak, Russian oil has been banned. Russia wants to sell crude to any country at a discount. Today, they are discounting their product by 25% to India. Not only India, most of the countries buying Russian products have been discounted. China is buying from them. Why can't we buy refined products from China, even the crude? If we want our oil refinery to work, why can't we get crude from some of these countries at cheaper prices and also reboost our economy that's still relying on Europe? The second part is that as a national policy or foreign policy, we also need to get to buy products from cheaper currency. Now, when you buy products from cheaper currencies like the ruble, I don't know how, I'm yet to look at the interbank rate between the cedi and the ruble, but I know for sure that Ghana's cedi is performing better than the yuan, which is the Chinese yuan. Now, when we buy products from yuan or the ruble, because those currencies are cheaper, when they bring their products here, their products become cheaper. And that is why most people say that Chinese products are cheaper. Chinese products are cheaper because their currency is cheaper. But when you get an expensive currency compared to yours, anytime you bought products in that particular currency, anytime you bring it into your local currency, the product becomes expensive. And that is why today, petroleum products are expensive in Ghana because we are buying them in dollars. We need thinkers because at this critical moment, the future may not be Europe. The future may be East. And that is what everyone, critical analysts are saying. So why don't we get thinkers at the seat of government, at the Foreign Affairs Ministry, at everywhere to look at the data and then advise government in the best interest of Ghana?
Well, when you say we need thinkers, because as we speak, we have a finance minister, we have a whole economic management team with several people working around it. I'm sure the last time the presidential staffers list came out, you saw some of them were advisors to the president, among others were supposed to play rules in that direction. Are you saying those people are not doing the job that they are supposed to be doing, that there's not enough thinking around perhaps our economic management team?
I am saying they are not doing enough, and I think that if they were doing enough, fuel prices wouldn't be where they are now. If they were doing enough, our cedi shouldn't be where it is now. Our cedi has depreciated between 2000 and now. Our cedi has depreciated more than 5,000%. 5,000%. That is the depreciation of our cedi. Current countries like Kuwait, which people even think that they are authoritarian, don't have the so-called knowledge we have here, the Western knowledge we have here, have maintained their currency from 2000 to date. Countries like United Arab Emirates have maintained their currency. It is not even fixed. It is a floating currency, but they have maintained the stability of it with only oil from 2000 to date. If you go to countries like Bahrain, countries like Saudi Arabia, their currencies have been fixed. And when I say currency, the currency is not a fixed currency. It means that it's a liberal and floating currency. It has an interbank exchange, like depending on your exports and your import. But country like Ghana, which we tout ourselves as democratic, we tout ourselves as a country of knowledge persons, and we cannot manage the cedi against the foreign currency. With all the mineral resources we have, with all the cocoa we have, with all the gold, with all the manganese, and now even with all the oil, we can manage our economy, and then we cannot manage our city. I think we are not thinking enough, and I think that it is about time politicians get thinkers. In other jurisdictions, that is what they do. They get thinkers to think for their economy and redirect the focus of the economy. If today Russia is in Ukraine, and we all know what is happening in Europe, higher inflation, higher whatever, higher fuel prices are there, why don't our people sit and look at the options, vary the options, and advise government on the better options that will serve Ghanaians' interest and not the interest of the Europeans?
Ben, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Benjamin Nsiah has given us some food for thought, some things to think about.